Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're already in episode 12 of season 4, and we have part 2 of this amazing conversation, which I absolutely cannot wait for. We got a chance to talk, Branch Warren and myself, back in 2021 when he just started his company. We talked a little bit about his career and now his blossoming shows coming up, which I think you guys are all going to have a lot of fun with. And some of you have been inquiring about them. So Branch Warren, welcome back to the show.
No, thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me back. I can't believe it's been 3 years. So
That's right. Well, a lot's changed since then. What would you say the biggest change has been since 2021 to now new 2024 and just starting out?
with my life, man, a lot of things. So first of all, my wife is pregnant. We're having a son. He'll be due February 28th of this year. So super excited about that. Complete surprise, but we definitely happy and blessed. So that's the biggest change coming up, and then a lot of things happening in my life. So we just launched a nutrition company, Warren Nutrition. So got this going on, pre-workouts and all that. You can see it. So got that started December 1st of 23. So that's been out for a couple months, going way better than expected. So super happy with that. And of course, I've got as you mentioned, 3 shows: the Better Bodies Classic in April in Fort Worth, the Branch Warren Classic in Denver, May 11th, and of course the original one, the Branch Warren Classic down in Houston, June 22nd. So got that going on. Of course, I'm still doing my thing with Wiki Cuts. May will be 6 years. We've been in business, so I'm doing really well with that. And especially the past 2 years, it's really blown up on us. So you told me 10 years ago I was going to own a beef jerky company, I'd have laughed at you. But,
yeah.
So it's never know which way. Right. So and then, of course, I'm still with Gas and Better Bodies, and I'm involved with them more than ever.
Wow. Well, let's talk a little bit about this, because when you launched this, did you ever think you were going to have this in your background and just have this fly off the shelves like it's doing right now?
If you'd have told me I was going to have a beef jerky company, I'd have laughed at you. If you told me 10 years ago that I would, be a part owner of a supplement company, yeah, I could see that. That's something that's always kind of been in the back of my mind. My partner, Wiki Cuts, and my partners, owners of Warren Nutrition, is Scott James. Scott was, he actually invented the pre-workout, no explode. So that changed the whole industry. So, and he was the original owner of BSM back in the day. So he's been on me for a while. He says, hey, why don't you do your own thing? And, at the time, I wasn't ready for it. We were working 8 days a week at Wiki Cuts, and just so busy with it, and I just didn't feel the time was right. So, the first quarter of 2023, I went to him and I said, hey, let's do this. And I had a vision. I just want to start small, just do a pre-workout, and that's something I believe in. First of all, because I was taking pre-workouts in the 90s before a pre-workout existed. I used to take ephedrine and caffeine and aspirin and mix it in my coffee and drink it. And that was my pre-workout. I get to the gym, I'm sweating, eyes are bloodshot, ready to run through the wall. And, you get great workouts. So, number one, it's a product I believe in. And I always took it before it existed. So I just want to make something good and, give these guys, when they need that little extra kick. And those days you go to the gym that you don't want to train, give them a little kick to get you through that workout and have a great workout. So that's how it all came about. And so if you asked me 10 years ago if I was going to have a nutrition company, wouldn't have been a surprise.
Well, now you've got a food company, you've got a nutrition company, and, we're going to kind of get into these shows here in just a second. But for those of you who are tuning in, we're right now streaming on X and Twitter, Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, 2 YouTube pages. And we're working on technical issues to get the Instagram up, because I have a lot of followers who have been begging and dying to ask you questions from all over the country. And so we see Frank White up in Wisconsin. He's tuning in. And, I remember my very first, we had John Sherman on a few weeks ago, and you were one of the first Fit Expo shows that I was ever at. And I was just in awe of walking through that and seeing so many amazing bodies, companies. You had wrestling, you had powerlifting, strongman. I mean, I thought of everything, and it was like so much to take in. How has really promoting been different from the competition stage? Because you are world champion with the Arnold. We're going to go into that. but what's different between the competition part and now promoting and going nationwide with it?
So promoting, the reason I got into promoting, I think this is my 16th year to have the Branch One Classic down in Houston. So it's become a staple show down there in Houston, and one of the largest shows in the state. And so I want to get something back, right? I love bodybuilding. Everything I have in my life, I'll directly or indirectly to bodybuilding. And you take that, the discipline, the dedication, the hard work, the consistency you learn from bodybuilding, you apply that in business and other areas of your life, you'll be successful. So, my priority with that show, when I started that show, I wanted to make sure the athletes had a good experience. That's my number one priority. You take care of the athletes, I find everything else takes care of itself. Everything falls in place. So I just want to give the athletes a good experience and make it fun, make it a family event. We started off the first year and actually in Conroe, and this little Lone Star Expo, and we moved it all. We grew, and we moved it to the convention center, Energy Center down in Houston. Shares the parking lot with the Energy Stadium and the Alamo, I guess the Astrodome. So huge venue. We've got CrossFit, Jiu-Jitsu, powerlifting, strongman, arm wrestling, midget wrestling. We haven't had that since COVID, but we're going to bring that back. And so it's just a fun event for the family and everybody. And I realize not everybody wanted to be a bodybuilder. Maybe you're into powerlifting, or maybe you're in a strongman, or maybe you're into jiu-jitsu or whatever. So I just want to put a platform where athletes can come and have fun and compete in their chosen sport. And so that was the goal behind it, and the thinking behind it, just to give a little something back. So I took that concept, I moved it to Denver, and then of course we have it in Fort Worth now, but with the Better Bodies Classic, and just growing it, just following the same blueprint we did for Houston.
Well, that is in its 16th year. Let's talk about our new show, which is the Better Bodies Classic, and that's going to be April 6th. What brought on this decision to bring on this additional show, and how different is it to just not promote one show, but now two shows, and now you're at three? What does that really complicate your life or simplify for you?
You just have to learn to delegate, I think, a little bit. I've got a really solid team behind me. I've got Brian Dobson, Metroflex Events. He's been partners with me at my Houston show, and of course Ronnie's show, Ronnie Coleman Classic, and of course now he's partners with me in the Better Bodies show. So, and then of course with Better Bodies, I brought the owner, Michael Johansson, the owner and CEO of Better Bodies and Gas on board, and to help us with the show too. So in this one, so it's a partnership, and I just like I said, the guiding philosophy behind it is take care of the athletes. Gas Better Bodies puts on a show in Sweden. That's where they have office in Sweden and Dallas. And, I was super impressed with how the backstage area and how much they cater to the athletes. And I think anybody that does this Better Bodies Classic is going to get to see that, how they take care of the athletes. They really go above and beyond backstage, to cater to the athletes for the tanning area, the makeup area, hospitality table. They have a stage backstage for photos and interviews and all these things. So it's lighting set up. So they really go above and beyond. So I want to take that concept and bring it to Texas.
That's so cool. Now, Denver's an area that I don't think you've been to, at least for the show coming up. And I'm curious, why Denver?
So I love Colorado. First of all, this is the third year we've got the Branch One Classic in Denver. So we've had two previous shows. So the first year we just knocked it out of the park. I've never been that much success with the first year show. So had a lot of support from the community, and from especially obviously the bodybuilding community. So we have a powerlifting meet and a strongman meet there in conjunction with it. I want to have a show in Denver for 10 years. I love Colorado. They've got a really solid community up there, and with the bodybuilding and fitness and everything. So Dylan Armbrust, who owns Armbrust Gym there in Denver, it's probably the premier bodybuilding gym in Colorado, along with some other good gyms like Prodigy up in Fort Collins, and I think Flex Gym down in Colorado Springs. So there's some really cool gyms there. And so Dylan approached me. He said, "Hey, what do you think about having a show up here?" And I said, "Let's do it." And that was about the extent of the conversation. So after that, I flew up and we went looking for venues and got it hammered out and put it together and had it, and we've just grown it every year since.
That is so cool. We are now officially live on Instagram. So we want to welcome our Instagram audience. If you saw me in the background, I want to make sure the folks who were waiting for this interview got the chance to be involved. I think about what you're doing as far as a family. You're also a now 3-show promoter. You have multiple businesses. What is the way that you're able to prioritize training still? Because I have to let you in on a little secret, which I do a lot of cardio at Roman Empire now because it's time to get back in shape. And the funny thing is, there are TV screens all over this place. If you've ever have you ever been to Roman Empire?
I have.
Okay, you're up there literally with training videos everywhere around the gym and upstairs in cardio. So it's really interesting to see how you trained. And I asked a couple of people there, what would a question that you would ask? How do you maintain and manage to prioritize your training while having all this on your plate?
You just make it a priority, plain and simple. It's nothing. It's really nothing new for me. When I was at the top of my game as a bodybuilder, like those years 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, when I was at the top of my game, I always had a business. I opened a gym when I was in my 20s, and I turned pro. I was 26 years old when I turned pro, and I opened my own business and worked for myself. And so I sold it when I was 32, I guess, somewhere around there, 33, and we opened up a freight forwarding company, me and my wife. And so through the prime of my career, I was working, and I always had a full-time job. And people said, well, "How do you do that?" And you just freaking just discipline and work. I mean, there was some of my contemporaries that were really good bodybuilders. They trained, did their cardio and all that, and then they watched Sports Center and played video games. And I would fucking shoot myself if that's all I did. So I can't sit still. That's just me. There's so many other things that I like to do, and plus too, um, I like to work, and plus in bodybuilding is a finite set of time. Any athlete, I don't care what it is there's only so long you can do it right. So and afterwards, you got a lot of living left to do, and hopefully, and so I was very conscious of that. And I said when bodybuilding's over, I never thought I'd compete for 15 years as a pro. I thought 5, 6 years, that it'd be a wrap. And I thought if I could win a couple shows, go to Olympia, and that'd be a pretty successful career. And I had no idea I would do what I did for as long as I did. So that being said, when it's over, you got to have something to pay to fall back on, right? I was blessed to do really well in bodybuilding, but it's going to be over sooner or later, and it was. And so it was an easy transition for me because I had a freight company for 10 years. We sold that after I retired, and then I partnered with Scott James and we did Wicked Cuts.
That's a great transition. When you say make it a priority, I mean, are you still in the gym training with Johnny? Is it like early in the morning? Is it during the day? When do you prioritize your training during the week?
I trained with Johnny from 2001 until 2021. So 20 years we trained together, our entire pro career. And I didn't really stop training with him until the past 3 years. I sold my house and moved up farther north, and McKinney had prospered where I live. So, and it's an hour and 15, 20-minute drive to get to Metroflex. And so the first time in my life since 1991, I don't go to Metroflex. Um, and I train at Metroflex Plano now instead of the original one. So you just prioritize it though. I mean, if you don't prioritize it, it's too easy, especially you get busy with business and work and kids, to skip it, right? So you just prioritize it, make it a priority. And people say, why do you still train as hard as you do? The best way I can sum it up is this. I said it before. Some people train because they're bodybuilders. I was a bodybuilder because I love to train. I think that's the best way I can sum it up.
Yeah. And you train with a purpose. You don't, I mean, you're training muscles for hypertrophy as opposed to look and aesthetics, and then you get that as a byproduct. I'm curious, you've trained at Metroflex for a while. What are your top 3 favorite gyms in the DFW area? That was a question by Solomon Saucedo.
Top 3 favorite gyms in the area. Number 1, Metroflex Arlington, the original one. I've been to every state in 66 countries. I've trained in gyms in all those places, and Metroflex is my favorite. I think you love it or hate it, but I love it. And there's nowhere you go that's more motivating. Is it dirty? Absolutely, absolutely, it's dirty. But if you're there to work and get the work done, there's nowhere you're going to be more motivated. You just want to train when you walk in that place. That's my number 1 gym. Number 2 gym, I'll probably say Bev's Powerhouse Gym up in Syosset. It's a badass gym. I love that place. I used to train there. I used to go to New York a lot. Had some friends there, of course. Every time I was in town, I'd go make sure I get a workout there. and then number 3 would be Destination Dallas over in Allen. So I train there at least once or twice a week now. So it's a really it's motivating because you go in there and you see there's a lot of pros in there now. You see a lot of top athletes train there. So it's a good atmosphere.
Those gyms usually produce certain athletes to where, especially if you're in that, like Venice, for example, you've got a ton of pros training there. The new up and comers see those pros, and it's almost like handing off to a new generation. Where are you seeing really the trend for bodybuilding going? I know that you're Olympians, almost every year. You might even go to the Arnold. And so what are you noticing in the sport when you trained and you competed as opposed to now? What's really changed in your eyes?
The training is different for sure. I think I was just talking about that this past weekend. We did a seminar at Destination Dallas, and it's a different generation. Every generation is different, and you put your mark. Every generation puts their mark on the sport, and just like we did, just like the guys before us did. You look at the '70s compared to the guys in the '80s and the '90s. Every generation is different, right? It looks different. The training's different. The nutrition definitely is different. So they train different. I think not as old school as what we did, especially coming from the Metroflex guys. And you look at all that generation. I mean, it was hard, heavyweight. I think Ronnie, I think he summed it up best when somebody asked, "How do you train?" He said, "Well, I lift the maximum amount of weight I can lift for the maximum number of reps I can lift it. I rest and do it again." And that kind of summed it up. I think some of these trainers and gurus, they overcomplicate it, overthink it. You can do the exact same program for the next 5 years, and you don't have to change it up. You can do the same more exercises every day that you go and train, for chest, shoulders, back, legs, whatever. You don't have to change it up. It's the effort that you put in there. Your muscles don't know that you're doing difference between a freaking dumbbell press and a bench press. All they know is stress that you're putting on them. It's the intensity you bring to the workout. That's what matters. We did the same workout for years. I don't think Ronnie ever changed his workout, ever. I think he did pretty much the same workout his entire career. He never really changed it up. And I've told trainers this before. I go, and they admit they're like, yeah, we know. We just do that because the clients feel like they get something more out of it if we change it up. So I think a lot of this is just a bunch of BS that these trainers come up with. The basics still work, but it's a different mentality, man. And it works for them. The physiques look different. I don't think the conditioning is the same as one from our generation. I think their guys are definitely there's a few guys that still have that grainy hard look, but the conditioning is definitely different from our generation. And just like we were different from the guys in the '90s, so it's just a different time.
Yeah. You mentioned conditioning and that graininess. I saw that with you. I saw that with Dorian Yates. I saw that with a few of those folks, and I have a hard time seeing that. And as we think about protocols being different, we think about lighting, stage lighting. We think that should get better, and it's almost like we've taken a little bit of a step back to that. Do you really think that maybe, I don't want to say it's commercialized, but it's definitely publicized in a different way to when you were, because you had magazines, you had sponsorships. Now you have the internet and social media. How has social media changed bodybuilding, in your opinion?
Social media changed everything. My generation we kind of rolled the change out. We went from no social media to social media became a thing. Facebook was the big thing back in the day, and then now magazines are gone. Muscular Development just closed shop in 2023, and that was like the biggest magazine back in the day. It was Flex, and Muscular Development took over, and those were the big two. And so that's how you got your information, was from other magazines. So everything is different. The magazines promoted you. The companies, the supplement companies, they promoted you. Now, if you're not good on social media, you can be a top athlete, and it's really hard to make it, because they'll go sign somebody who has no accomplishments, hasn't done anything, but they've got a big following and they convert. So they'll sign that athlete as opposed to a top Olympian. It's a different game. I saw it. I remember when it kind of changed. I was in FIBO, and back in the day, you went to FIBO. The top 5-6 guys at Olympia had the longest lines, right? People wait hours to meet you, and social media was a thing. It was out, and things were starting to change. I remember I looked across the aisle, and this dude had this line that was insane, and it was longer than my line. I'm like, who is this dude? And so somebody goes over, and I go, they went, and they go, that's so and so. I go, who's that? And it was just some guy, right? And I call them like the Kim Kardashians of the world, right? There's no talent, no accomplishment, no skills, but they're famous. They're famous for being famous. And I'm not hating on them by no means, because this dude's killing it, but he hadn't done anything, and he was just good on social media, right? And I had a good following, and people loved him, so he's getting paid. And that's when things started changing. And the problem with that for bodybuilders, most bodybuilders are introverts. And self-promotion is a hard thing. Even if you're an extrovert, for most people, self-promotion is a hard thing. So I think what you see is a lot of these bodybuilders are having a really hard time being successful because they have to promote themselves. And the ones that are good at it are doing really well. But because the days of the magazines doing it for you, those days are over. Yo, Matt, are you there? Well, I think we lost Matt here. Hello? Well, hopefully Matt will get back here with us soon. Hopefully Matt will get back here with us, brother. Yeah, but I've lost Matt. I don't know where he went. Did I reach?
Dude, you totally overloaded the system. Your social media news was so cool. It just decided to freeze up the computer. Do you remember what happened last time? I was ready to go on this StreamYard, and we had to do a Zoom call. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
You didn't lose contact though, did you? The whole time you're sitting there looking.
I don't know.
My God. Okay, social media. Here we go. So you've seen it change to where influencers are typically more, I guess, more notarized than maybe even better bodies, in your opinion.
Yeah, I think I mean, you have some of the top guys at the Olympia, and top two, three, four, five guys, and I think some of the social media influencers are more popular than they are. And it's a different time. And for bodybuilders, like I was saying, um, a lot of them, most bodybuilders are introverts, and self promotion is a hard thing. And so, if you're an introvert and you're not good at self promotion, which most people are not, they have to learn to be good at that. Then it's a tough time for them. So back in the day, the magazines promoted you, the supplement companies promoted you, your other sponsors did the same thing for you. So your job was just be a bodybuilder, and as long as you were good and could stay on top, life was good. Um, Now it's a different deal. I think there's actually probably more opportunities for athletes that are good at social media and that know how to promote themselves. If you're not good at that, then it can be tough.
Yeah. We won't go into the physique height weight cap because that's just a bunch of guys who have no legs. I mean, you're truly the heartbeat of really when bodybuilding was at its peak. People used to reminisce, when those times where you've got a Flex Wheeler, a Ronnie Coleman, a Branch Warren, um, Phil Heath, and it was going into that era, and then we saw a little distension, and then all of a sudden conditioning might be a little off, and now that the Olympia is where it's at, and now that really the pinnacle, you've got a guy like Hottie, you've got Derek Lunsford, you've got Nick Walker. How are you seeing internationally the sport change? Has that changed when you were around as opposed to now, or in different countries? Are they getting involved because of the notoriety?
Bodybuilding is truly a worldwide sport now. I think way back when it was an American sport, and the few people that were not American, they came to America. You had to come to America to be successful. Dorian was the first one to kind of break that stigma. He was the first non-U.S. based bodybuilder to win the Olympia, and so he kind of broke that stigma that you had to be an American or have to live in America at least to win. So, and it's really grown exponentially across the world. Since then, the Middle East, I think, is the hottest area now for bodybuilding. I think it's still overall, it's probably still an American-dominated sport, but the past couple Mr. Olympias have been from the Middle East. Hadi and Big Ramy. It's hugely popular there. You see some great physiques come out of there. You see a lot of Europeans, more so than ever, I think, coming up in the sport. You see a lot of Brazilians. I think especially some of the other divisions, the female divisions, you're seeing a lot of Brazilians. And I knew that would happen eventually because the genetics on there are just incredible. And so it's truly a worldwide sport. And I think you're going to continue to see more and more of that, happen.
Yeah. For you and Trish, are you done with the stage and there's no chance of a Masters Olympia comeback, or is that still kind of a thought at this now that you're having your baby boy coming up?
I retired in 2016 and I haven't even thought about it since. I'll tell you a quick story. They announced the Masters Olympia last year, and they're going to bring it back. And so my workout partner, Johnny Jackson, called me and he said, "Hey man, did you hear the news?" I said, "What news?" He said, "They're bringing the Masters Olympia back." I just kind of got quiet. He goes, "What do you think?" I go, "Think about what?" He goes, "You think we got another one in us?" I'm like, "You do, I don't." And he goes, "No, what do you mean?" I said, "Man, it's for me." I said, "No way." I said, "Number one, I played Russian roulette with my health and I said, you did too, for 15 years. And I said, we both won. I said, I'm healthy inside and out. And I said, so are you. I said, number two, I said, even if I win, I still lose. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I can't look like I did when I was 35 years old. I said, if I did, I'd still be doing Olympia. And I said, it can't happen. I said, I don't want to be remembered as like the 48, 49-year-old version of myself. And I go, comebacks in the sport never go low. I go, ever. And I said, if you feel you still have something that you need to go out and go prove, by all means, brother, I'll train with you for it. But I said, for me, it makes no sense. And I said, number three, the money don't change how I live. I said, you could put $500,000 in my account just to guarantee for me to go do the show, and I still wouldn't do it. I said, it's not worth it to me. And I said, that being said, I wouldn't trade those 15 years I competed as a pro for anything in the world. I had a blast, but when I stepped away, and I have no regrets, and I'm not going back.
That was probably the most, and this word is coming up a lot, based. When you hear somebody who is core to their value and belief and they stick with it. That to me is everything that a lot of these guys never could say because they're still holding on to their 20-year-old past when they want to get back on stage and still think they can train like they used to. You mentioned when we talked last, you tore your quad off the bone going off of a curb, and you still managed to go, place and win shows, like the Arnold. And I'm curious, how is your injury sustainability now? Even though you train heavy, do you train a lot smarter and you just felt a lot better in your joints, in your bones, in your muscles? How has that changed the way that you think about training?
I mean, I don't really know about training smarter. I don't think I ever trained unsmart. I want to say something here. People always are banging on your form or something. I was looking at some post Jay made the other day, and they were banging on him about his form. Well, I never told anybody ever to train like I do. If you can take something that I do and incorporate that into your training, then that's a win. But I've never told anybody to train like me. It worked for me, and my joints feel great. I don't have any really aches and pains anywhere. When I tore my quad, it wasn't in the gym. It was a freak accident. Like Evanson Apana, he's been retired for years. He just tore his quad this last week. He slipped outside on something, I forget, and he tore his quad, and that's the second time he's torn a quad outside of the gym. He tore his other quad years ago. I think he slipped on some ice or something. So, bad things happen sometimes. That being said, so as far as is my training the same now as it used to be? No, it's not the same. I don't go as heavy. There's no reason to train heavy like that anymore. I'm not trying to win Olympia. Do I still train with the same intensity? No. I train intense, but I don't train to the next level that I used to. I just people always ask me what motivated me to train hard like that. It was to win, right? So, and I always knew that instinctively, but I really just proved it to myself when I retired. I didn't have that show in front of me that I was getting ready for. So it's like, am I really going to take it to every step to death? No. Um, so I have more fun training now than I love what I did. I do miss having that focus and a mission, to get ready. When I was getting ready for a show, it was a mission. I didn't give a shit what happened in the world. I just had one mission. I was single-minded, and I got ready for it. I missed that. But man, me and Johnny were talking about it after we retired, and we're still training together. We had fun, after we retired. Man, we laugh and cut up. Dude, that never happened when we were, competing. I mean, it was like we go in the gym, we wouldn't even speak to each other sometimes. We train the whole workout and leave and not say a word to each other, and that's cool. Um, so it's just a different mentality.
I got this question from a gentleman in Arizona, and he wanted me to ask, how did you keep your waist in check, and how did you keep, just during your poses? You always had a great midsection, serratus obliques. You were peeled to the bone. You were dry. You were grainy, as we talked about, but you more importantly had the aesthetics. Is there any secret to you keeping that? Because we're seeing a little bit more wider bases as people lift heavier, but your waist never went out of check, even though you were training heavy and intense. So, any secret to that, or was that just by luck that your genetics happened to keep you nice and tight up in the waist?
Now, I think your waist, having a wide waist or not, is just genetic. A lot of it. If you have wide hips or something, then of course your waist is going to be wide, and that's not necessarily a deal breaker. I mean, your waist is wide. Look at Jay. Jay had a wide waist. You just get your shoulders and your back and your quads bigger. Get more sweep on your quads. Get your shoulders bigger. You offset it. And it still works. So if you're genetically blessed, like with a Melvin Anthony waist, then that's awesome. Most guys are not. As far as keeping my waist in check, it's just being professional on stage and practice your posing, and you learn to keep your abs and everything tight, and you learn to breathe through your chest, not your stomach, and you practice your posing so you don't get gassed, and you hold it in. You're up there, it's game day. I mean, I think I always thought that was super unprofessional when I see pros up there that they relax and let their gut hang out. I mean, take you on stage, man. You trained your whole life to get to Olympia, and you're gonna let your gut hang out on stage, really? I mean, I just never understood that. So that's just lack of attention to detail and lack of posing on their end to not be prepared to come on stage. I remember seeing you know, like a Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler, these guys like that when they were competing, coming up and coming, and they'd say, I remember one year Sean Ray stayed flex the entire prejudging. I mean, he stayed even standing back in the lineup, he stayed flex the entire prejudging. I was like, that was impressive, but they looked professional, and people remembered it to this day because of, how he presented himself. And that's something that makes a difference. And in a close competition, that could be could be a deal maker.
You know, I may have heard through the grapevine that you might be training a select few people. And, you know, I know that your regimen is eat, 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 train, train, train. And I'm curious, you do have limited availability. How has personal training, and have you opened that up to a larger group, or are you keeping that pretty intimate and tight based on your schedule because you do have 5 things that you're juggling?
Yeah, I don't do personal training. I do some online training or
There
whatever.
we go.
I don't do personal training, but I do some online training. I keep it a really small, tight group. You know, you can't. I don't feel you can, especially if somebody's getting into a competition. You know, a handful of guys, maybe is about all I can let myself work with, um, and it's just based on guys that I feel are going to work hard. I've let a couple guys go. I fired them because if you don't work hard, man, you don't follow the program. You can lie, but your body don't lie, and I have no patience for that. So, you know, I've worked with a few guys, and a couple of these guys I think are going to be really good going forward. I've got 3 guys in particular that I'm working with that I think all 3 of them have potential to do something. So they're all amateurs, and I've worked with some pros. You know, I worked with Mark Fitzwater a couple years back, and you know he did really well. So I think these guys have that same type of potential to be pro and be good pros. So we'll see. They're young. They've got the whole world in front of them. So we'll see. Most importantly, they're hungry.
Yeah. You know, that's important because I know very few people get to train with world champions, you know, and a lot of times they look for a coach, and I've seen athletes coach hopping, and, you know, they're one show they're doing it here, one show they're doing it with another coach. And it's hard to learn your body. And I love the fact that you said you fired them if they don't work hard, because that's a direct reflection of you and how you've online trained them. So you want champions. You don't want a people who, you know, just, hey, I don't need the money, but if you're going to do it, let's do it to the nth degree, as opposed to just, you know, halfway. So, how did you just recently start that, like the last few years, or has that just been kind of something that you've been kind of
Uh,
doing?
right within the past 2 years, I started doing it. You know, I kind of threw it out there, and just I wanted to somebody, the people that got me into the sport. I just asked them one time. They never charged me $1, and they helped me tremendously and changed my whole life. And I got a little bit older and asked them. I said, "How can I pay you back?" And they told me. They said, "Pass it forward." So
Well, you've definitely paid it forward in this sport because, you know, you're a guy who's number one, always greeting people at your show. You've got, you know, your events that just are incredible. You've got companies now that are thriving, and they're not just surviving, which, you know, and depending on what you're in, the supplement industry is not an easy um, industry to be in. But, you know, as I look at these pictures, because I see all these comments coming in, and for those of you who are just joining us, we have Branch Warren, world champion, Arnold Classic champion, and someone who is a clear professional in IFBB, pro Hall of Famer. You know, I think about Better Bodies Classic coming up in April. You've definitely got, you know, this going where you follow that up May 11th, 2024. And not only that, you're capping off your big show 2022, which all of them are great events, but you've also now got, you know, a succession where you've got this, you've got Wicked Cuts, you've got all these things going on. What are you most excited about moving forward into 2025? We've talked about 2024 and what that holds in store for you, and you can only control the outcome based on the work that you put in now. But moving forward, do you like really the business aspect, the promoting aspect, and really what is the most exciting for you besides having a new son here just next month?
definitely, I think I'm more having a new son is the biggest excitement I have right now. Beyond that, going into 2025, you know, Wiki Cuts is really coming into its own. You know, we're our bacon jerky is #1 on Amazon, which is huge for us. We're in Walmart, we're in Giant Eagle grocery stores, we're in Pilot Flying J's, Albertsons, we're getting at Costco. It just goes on and on. So it's really coming into its own, and so that's a lot of fun to be part of that. And then I think, you know, probably to top it off, I'm really excited about Warren because that's my world, right? You know, beef jerky and all that was a wholly different world, and had to, you know, you have to humble yourself, and you have to learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? To get a new area, new business. But you know, with Warren, that's my area. That's Scott's area. You know, Scott kind of wrote the book on it. So back in the day, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. You know, I'm in that world. I know everybody. I love the fitness bodybuilding world. So this is something that I've always in the back of my head wanted to do. So it's finally happening, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Because it's always a challenge. It's a cutthroat business, but every business is, right. Ain't nobody owes you a damn thing, right? So you got to work hard. And but I've got a lot of appearances I want to do, a lot of traveling across the states and across the world. But I've been around the world a couple times, so it looks like I'm getting ready to do it another time or two.
Nice. Well, I wanted to share this with you because, I like to get a chance to maybe every now and then show off a little bit as far as some of the things that you've done and you've accomplished with Wicked Cuts. And I'm hoping I can get this here. It's great to use a new platform that actually allows you to be a little bit more creative. The problem is you can't download YouTube. So I was going to download some YouTube videos, let you show off a little bit. And as I look, well, I was gonna, man, I was all excited about this. Let's see what we've got here. We can't share that. We can't share this, but we're going to share that. Okay. Well, your Wicked Cuts seems to be have little red dots all over the map on wickedcuts.com. And so if you're number one on Amazon, you're in Walmart, you're in all of these places. I mean, that's got to be, I guess the question is, how big are you going to go? How big are you going to scale? And I'm thinking about that you're nationwide now. Are you worldwide in different countries? And how many more countries do you want to conquer?
So no, we're domestic only. There's a lot of shipping beef or food overseas is really hard, especially American beef. There's a lot of restrictions on it. So no, we just focus primarily almost 100% on domestic. The 50 states, and so that's pretty much that makes it counts for most all of our revenue. Yeah. So how big can it be? I never impose any limits, right? So the sky's the limit. It's as big as you can make it.
Is this the site?
That's it.
Oh man, I found a way to do it. Okay, so I watched an Instagram, and for those of you who are following the Branch Warren on Instagram, you're going to see him pull this bacon out, and literally it makes you hungry. I was flipping out because I actually had to go find a snack because of that. But the cool thing about it, Joe Rogan, tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. He made a post. It's done it a few times for us actually. So been super cool. So he actually had I think the Black Rifle Coffee guy on the program, and he pulled out that the Carolina Killer, that red bag there, and it's super hot. So we had volcanic jalapeno, and people wanted something hotter. So we came out with a Carolina Reaper, which is Carolina Reaper peppers, ghost peppers, and scorpion peppers in it. So for any of you know anything about spicy foods, those are like the three hottest peppers. I think there's one now that might be hotter, but when we developed that was like the top three. And I've had one piece. One piece. It's so hot I can't eat it. But there's people that love that stuff, and it was our number one seller for a long time when we came out with it. And it really people started doing videos about it, YouTube videos, and making posts about it. The Carolina Reaper Challenge, and it really he got hold of it. And long story about how that happened, but he put it on the show, and he said, "Hey man, this is legit, man. This stuff is legit. Try it out, blah blah blah." And then he made a post about it. And then I remember he's blowing my phone up. "Oh man, you were just so Rogan." I'm like, "What?" And I pulled up like, "That's cool." And then he just put it on there here just recently again. So I had the guys eating it on air. So man, that was pretty cool.
Did you make him cry? Did he have like the really hot stuff?
Yeah, that red bag is like no bullshit. It, it'll mess you up, bro. When I was at the plant when manufacturing, we had the first bag come off. I got it, opened it up, and because we always sample the stuff, right? You gotta make sure it's comes off like it's supposed to. And so they're filming me, I remember, and I ate a piece, and I'm like, how hot can it be, right? And dude, it messed me up. I had to go across the street and get a jug of milk. We went to dinner that night. Like an hour later, my dinner sucked. I couldn't even. It was like it jacked me up so bad. It's legit, but there's people that can eat this stuff like it's French fries. I mean, we did a photo shoot with it with this guy, and he was a bodybuilder, and he's eating it. He ate the whole bag. He ate another bag, and I said, "How many bags you had?" He goes, "That's my third bag." I go, "Bro, you ain't got it because we kept having to do more takes and more takes." I go, "Dude, we can put something else in there." I go, "I'm thinking this dude's gonna eat a hole in his stomach or something," and he's like, "Nah, bro, I like it." And dude, he ate all three bags of it like a champ. I'm thinking, all right, I'm a total puss. I had one piece and I'm done. So
He needed his protein. He got his protein.
like, holy.
Well, that just goes to show you that bodybuilders are built different. I think, with the amount of food that you put in your system, it's pretty much ready to handle anything, even if it's spicy. But I think that just takes a different kind of person. Um, Good to know. What is I don't understand what the intrigue is to go super spicy and like literally start crying and like keeling over. But man, I guess there's a market for it, huh?
Love spice, and I'm not I don't like spice, but a little bit's okay. But that for me, that's too much for me. But man, a lot of people love it. If you're into hot and you like spicy, and it does have a really great taste. It's not just hot; it actually tastes really good. But just be prepared. If you get the Carolina Reaper, it's got a lot of bite to it. It ain't no joke. But on the flip side of that, the maple bacon is it's like eating candy. It's an actual it's real strips of bacon that we turn into jerky, and we put that maple glaze on it, and dude, it's so good. It'll make you slap your mama.
I may or may not have had a bag of that, or two, or three. But no, I mean, this is great, and I appreciate you hanging in, and as I think I know the answer to this, but I think you can never tell with you. You're somewhat unpredictable at times. You've got a lot of things, great things going. And I think a lot of people get a chance to see the bodybuilder, but they don't get a chance to see the man. And, you wear your heart on your sleeve. You're someone who's extremely driven, but more importantly, proud of what you've built. And you're okay with not being on stage. You're okay not being in the limelight. What would you say your proudest moment was, is to date, as far as in your almost 50-year-old life?
My proudest moment today, I think the day my daughter was born. I think there's I'm about to get to experience that again here in a few weeks. But I think, yeah, definitely my proudest moment is the day my daughter was born. That changes everything. People tell you that, but until you become a parent, you're like, yeah, 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 whatever. And it does. It changes everything. So, the day she was born, everything changed, and that's definitely the proudest moment to date.
That's super cool, and I can't wait to see the joy on your face. I think I know I'll be at your show in June when you come back to Houston, and always love and enjoy that experience, especially with it's like getting family back together. We see everybody at the same shows, and all we do is travel in caravan every weekend to the next show, which is great. But will you have your family there?
We'll be there. So Houston's always fun. After like I said, it'll be the 16th year we're having it. So always have a good time down there, and it's a crew. We always get together and have fun, and it's getting it going. Once you get it going, it's just kind of step and repeat now. Uh, it's a lot of fun, man. So I go down there, see everybody, and hang out, and I just do my thing. And it kind of once it gets started, then I get to kick back, and all the work's over for me usually. I just get back to hang out with my crew and talk to everybody and have a good time. So look forward to catching up with you.
Yeah, you got it. And then last question: do you still have to get custom suits made?
Man, I think if anybody wants to look good in a suit, you got to get custom made, pretty much. So I'll tell you a quick story. I retired, right, and I've lost probably 40 pounds since I retired on purpose, and I went from like 260 something, 265 to like 220, 225, and I remember we had to. I was going to an event, and I put this suit on. It's my favorite suit. And I put it on, and you ever see like kids that put their dad suits on?
Yep.
I was so depressed. I'm like, this is so messed up. And I had like a dozen suits, made well, they're custom made and hanging in the closet. I'm like, none of them fit. So I'm like, okay, we'll get some more made. So yeah, it is what it is. So
Nice. Well, it's funny because you can take them in, you can take them out, you can take them back in, and hopefully, because when you have a favorite suit, you want to at least emulate that and have it look good because it's your favorite suit because you look good in it. So, can't wait to see you June 22nd. Also, really much looking forward to seeing your next two shows and really keeping an eye on those because we've only heard great things, and we continue to wish great things for you, and can't wait to see all the blessings and the blossoms that come through for you, especially in your companies and also your events too. So Branch Warren, thanks again for the time.
thank you, brother.
And for all of you who tuned in, for those of you who already are following Branch, you can follow him also on Instagram if you're not there. If you're on Facebook, it's Branch Warren. Instagram, The Branch Warren. And you can go to Wicked Cuts. You can Google that. You can see a lot of the great things that are going on in Branch's life, and shoot him a message if you can. But more importantly, come to the shows. And for those of you who are competitors who are watching this, these are events that you want to compete in. And they're the best run events that I have seen. And there's something that I want to emulate as far as seeing all of the things, the little things he puts into those. And we have a lot of fans here in Houston, in Dallas and Austin, San Antonio. That Houston show is going to be amazing. So until then, we'll be in episode 12 next Friday. Branch, thanks again. Have a great weekend to all of you. We'll talk soon.